My best friend rejected me and said she was too much for me to handle, and now that I found someone else and am dating, she's mad at me and calling me a traitor. I've had a best friend for about 6 years. I used to talk to her basically every day. We were really close, and for about the last 3 years I've been telling her I have feelings for her. However, she always brushes it off, makes jokes, says she'll think about it, but never gives me a direct answer. Obviously, this has always been tough for me, especially because she never outright rejected me, but also never accepted me either. Just kind of left me hanging, as if she was still deciding if she wanted to be with me or nothing. Recently, though, I just couldn't take it anymore. We were at a party, and I saw her leave with another guy, and that crushed me. The next day, I asked her to talk, and once again asked her what she felt for me, and if she wanted something serious for real this time. I told her that if she didn't want it, she just needed to say so, and I'd let it go. But I couldn't handle her stringing me along and saying she needed to think about it if she had no intention of being with me. Once again, she told me to stop bringing it up and that she was still thinking about it and didn't want to be rushed. But this time I told her I wanted an answer now. That's when she got mad and said she was way out of my league, that she would never actually want me, and that just being my friend was already more than enough for her, so I should stop bothering her. Of course, that really shook me, because she had never spoken to me like that, and up until that point she had always acted like she was at least somewhat interested, so I didn't know where that was coming from. I just told her that was fine and left, and although she tried to talk to me normally after that, I responded casually, but was already thinking of cutting contact. So now 3 months later, I'm seeing someone. I wasn't even looking for anyone because I was still feeling pretty down about my friend, but this girl just showed up. We started talking, and honestly, she's amazing. We're not officially dating yet, but we're close, and Eve almost completely moved on from the feelings I had for my friend. At this point, I still talk to my friend, but much less often. And surprisingly, she's been giving me a hard time about it, saying I'm forgetting about her, and she doesn't get why I didn't want to throw it in her face that she was unnecessarily rude to me after stringing me along for months. But I definitely felt like it. The problem is, recently I was at a local party with a girl I'm seeing, and my friend saw me. She gave me a strange look, and I didn't understand why. But when I got home and checked my phone, it was flooded with messages from her, all of them accusing me of being with someone else. She said I had deceived her, and that apparently I'd been faking my feelings for her this whole time. If I really liked her, I wouldn't have moved on so easily. I asked her what she was talking about, reminding her that our last conversation about this was months ago and that she had completely humiliated me. So of course I moved on. She said she was still thinking about it, and that I never told her I had moved on. So catching me like this was basically like I'd cheated on her, and now she wanted to talk in person about it. I told her I wasn't going to meet in person to discuss anything, and that she was the one who rejected me in the first place. If she wanted to be with me, she should have said something before I found someone else. I told her I could still be her friend, but after everything she said, I no longer felt any attraction toward her. She insisted that she wanted to talk about it in person and was already on her way to my house. I told her not to come and that there was nothing left to say, but she didn't listen, so I guess she's coming anyway. Honestly, I have no idea how this conversation is going to go, but I know it won't be good. As I stared at my phone screen, watching my friend's messages pile up, I felt a mix of anger and exhaustion. She always made it clear she didn't want anything romantic with me, yet now she acted like she had been betrayed. I was tired of all the drama, but I knew there was no way to avoid this confrontation, given that she was determined to come to my house. So, I waited. After a few minutes, I heard a loud knock on the door. I took a deep breath before opening it, and there she was standing with eyes full of rage and maybe even some hurt. She looked like she was on the verge of tears, but I couldn't bring myself to feel bad for her at that moment. I had already given everything I had trying to understand what she wanted, but now there was no more room for illusions. "Why did you do this to me?" she blurted out the moment I opened the door, her voice trembling with indignation. "You said you liked me. How could you be with someone else now?" I kept the door open, letting her in. I didn't want the neighbors to hear this argument, which promised to be intense. I closed the door and turned to face her. "How did I do this to you?" I repeated incredulously, laughing bitterly. "I spent years trying to be with you. Years. I asked you for answers, for clarity, for honesty, and what did you do? You threw me aside, told me to forget it, that I wasn't good enough for you. So why now, when I'm finally trying to move on, Do you act like I owe you something? She huffed, her eyes welling up with tears that she was fighting to hold back. I was thinking, I didn't want to rush things. You know these feelings aren't simple. I thought you'd wait for me. Wait! I cut her off, my voice louder than I intended. Wait for what? Exactly. You never gave me anything to wait for. You left me in limbo, acting like I was just a backup plan. And when I asked for an answer, when I said I couldn't live in that uncertainty anymore, you didn't think twice before humiliating me. And now you expect me to apologize for not continuing to wait around while you decide? She fell silent, her anger giving way to a glimpse of insecurity. It wasn't common for her to hear this tone from me. For so long, I had been submissive to her whims, always willing to give in, to forgive, to wait. I just didn't know what I wanted, she finally said, her voice lower, almost a whisper. But now I know. And seeing you with her, I realized I could lose you. I shook my head, feeling a lump in my throat. Part of me had waited for those words for a long time. I wanted to hear that she finally wanted me, that she had realized my worth. But now that those words had been said, they had no impact. They felt empty, too late. I looked at her and saw someone who was only acting out of fear of losing control over me. You don't get it, do you? I said, trying to keep my voice steady. It's not that you want me. It's that you don't want me to be with anyone else. You like knowing I was always available, that I wouldn't go anywhere, no matter what you did or said. But now that I'm trying to be happy with someone else, it bothers you. This isn't love, it's ego. You just don't like losing control. She stood there, stunned, and tears finally began to roll down her face. For the first time, she seemed to understand what she had done. But even then, she tried to argue. That's not true. I was just confused. I raised my hand, signaling for her to stop. I didn't want to hear any more empty excuses. It doesn't matter now. I'm over it. I found someone who really wants to be with me, who makes me feel valued without me having to beg for it. And honestly, I deserve that. I deserve someone who won't leave me waiting while they decide if I'm good enough. You rejected me, and I accepted that. Now, I'm moving on, and you need to accept that too. She tried to step closer, holding onto my arm, her eyes wide, a last desperate attempt. Please give me another chance. I can be that person for you. I promise. I just didn't realize it before, but now I know what I want. I gently but firmly pulled away. I felt sad, but not regretful. This was the closure I needed, even if it was painful. You had all the chances. I gave you everything I could, and you didn't want it. Now it's too late. I don't feel the same way anymore, and I can't keep being your backup plan. I hope you find what you're looking for, but it won't be with me. She stood there, motionless, as I opened the door for her to leave. Her eyes were filled with tears, and I could see that she finally understood that she had lost. I didn't want to be cruel, but I knew I had to be firm. Goodbye, I said simply, and without another word, she left, sobbing quietly. I closed the door behind her and let out a deep sigh, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief. It was as if a great weight had finally been lifted from my shoulders. I knew that, in the end, I had done what was best for myself. For the first time in years, I was putting myself first. A few hours later, I sent a message to the girl I was seeing. I wanted to see her, to be close to someone who genuinely cared for me without any games or insecurities. And when she replied saying she wanted to see me too, I smiled, feeling genuine happiness, knowing I was finally on the right path to being happy without looking back. After that confrontation, I finally felt like a chapter of my life had closed. For the first time in years, I wasn't stuck in an endless game of uncertainty and expectations. I had something real and solid now, and even though I felt a bit sad closing the door on my old friend, I knew it was the best thing for me. The days became lighter. I started dedicating myself truly to the relationship with the girl who had come into my life so unexpectedly. She was fun, honest, and, above all, genuinely cared about me. There were no secrets, no confusion about feelings. Things were how they should be, easy and clear. Every time I saw her, the sense of well-being grew, and I realized that I was finally free from the chains of the past. Eventually, we officially started dating. We had so much in common, but also enough differences to keep things interesting. She challenged me to be better, and I supported her in every way I could. I felt like I was finally building something meaningful with someone who truly wanted to be by my side. I met her family, and she met mine. Slowly, our lives intertwined, and I realized that this was what I had always wanted. Someone who loved me fully, without fear of expressing how they felt. While I moved on with my life, I started to hear some things about my old friend. It wasn't something I sought out, but mutual friends ended up mentioning her. Apparently, after our argument, she began distancing herself from our group. She wasn't as present at parties or gatherings, and when she did show up, she always seemed distant. Some friends said she seemed down, had started drinking more than usual, and seemed to be avoiding people. I had mixed feelings about it. Part of me worried about her. After all, despite everything, we had been friends for many years. But another part of me couldn't forget all she had done, how she had manipulated me and discarded me so many times. She always thought she was in control, thought I'd always be there waiting, and now that I had moved on, it seemed like her world was falling apart. One night, while my girlfriend and I were at dinner with some friends, one of them mentioned they had seen my old friend at a bar, completely drunk and crying. He said it casually, just commenting on how different she seemed. My girlfriend, who knew the whole story, squeezed my hand under the table, as if to say that I didn't need to pay attention to that. And she was right. I shouldn't let myself get dragged back to the past, but I couldn't help the bitter feeling. She always made me feel like I wasn't good enough, that she was out of my league, and now she was the one hitting rock bottom while I was finally finding happiness. A few weeks later, I received a message from her. It was the first time she had reached out since that night she came to my house. The message was short, just asking to talk. I stared at the screen, wondering what I should do. Part of me wanted to ignore it, simply delete the message and move on. But another part knew that maybe she genuinely needed help. However, I couldn't be that person for her. I couldn't go back to being the safety net that she had discarded so many times. I decided to respond simply. I told her that I hoped she was doing well, but that I didn't think it would be a good idea for us to meet. I was honest. I had moved on, I was happy, and I didn't think it was fair to my girlfriend to reopen old wounds. I wished her the best and ended the conversation there. She didn't reply, and I knew that probably hurt her, but it was the best thing for both of us. Over time, the stories about her became less frequent. I stopped hearing about her drunken nights or failed relationships. She seemed to have disappeared from our social circle, and I didn't make an effort to find out where she was. It wasn't out of a lack of empathy, but because I knew that to truly be happy, I needed to leave all of that behind. My life, on the other hand, kept getting better. My career was advancing, my relationship was strong, and I was surrounded by people who valued me. My girlfriend and I decided to move into an apartment together, a place just for us, and that brought a sense of a fresh start that I so badly needed. Every day, I felt like I was building a new version of myself, more confident, more secure, happier. Sometimes, when I was alone and my mind wandered, I would wonder what would have happened if she had been honest with me from the start. Maybe we would have worked out, maybe not. But then I looked at my current life and knew that I was exactly where I needed to be. That uncertainty, that constant maybe, was left behind. Now I had something concrete, something real. I heard about her again almost a year later. A mutual friend mentioned that she had moved to another city, apparently trying to start over. He said she was working at a job she didn't really like and living alone. When I asked if she seemed okay, he hesitated before saying that she seemed more lost than ever. It was sad, of course, but there was nothing more I could do. I had tried to be there for her for so many years, and she never gave me the space. Looking at it all, I realized that sometimes some people just aren't ready to receive the love we want to give. I loved her, truly, but she wasn't ready for it. And now, after everything, I knew I deserved someone who was ready to love me back. And I had found that person. As I got ready for dinner with my girlfriend, watching her smile while she talked about our future plans, I felt a deep sense of peace. I left the past where it belonged and embraced the present that I had finally earned.